Hey guys, this is Emily and you're watching The Burrow. Sorry for the couple of minutes of delay there. I was just sharing this link on all my social media, like how you do. So today I'm going to be working on a comic page, an up-and-coming one. So I've kind of been posting my backlog of pages. I had, I think, 22 pages ready to go when I first launched my comic. So now I'm working on chapter 2. I have several chapters written out, but it takes much longer to draw than it does to write, obviously. So I did a test stream for this, I think last week, and I did experience a little bit of lag, but hopefully it's not too bad. I'm just going to close some of my programs, so that helps a little, hopefully. There we go. So yeah, this is chapter 2, page 3. And this is basically what I start with when I start drawing the actual page. And if you thought this looks like a huge mess, you would be right. So, oh, shout out to Charlie and Becky in the chat. Thank you guys for coming out. So basically, this is my thumbnail. And recently, I've been doing 2 thumbnails. So there's actually 2 images in here. Because what I do is I draw separately everything, all the scenes that are happening. So basically everything that needs to be in the panels, kind of to the side. And then once I have that down, I can get a clearer idea of the actual layout of the page. I'll turn off the speech bubbles now too. I usually turn those off for drawing because for the most part, I draw under them. Sometimes if there's a lot going on, I don't, just to save some time, but yeah, so I think I said this in a previous vlog, but it's kind of like I've been doing 2 thumbnails for each page. So it's kind of redundant, but it's the only way I can really get through it right now. I'm not sure if that's going to change as I go on. So for anyone wondering, I'm using Autodesk Sketchbook Pro. And the reason I use this is because there is no, or at least less, brush lag compared to Photoshop. And I noticed a lot in Photoshop that there always seems to be some lag. And it's very tiny. It's usually like a minuscule part of a second if you're just using a regular brush. But Photoshop brushes can get really heavy and they cause a ton of lag. Even if you have like a powerful computer, it just doesn't run well in the program. So yeah, this is kind of the beauty with working with a digital medium is I can adjust stuff really easily. And I noticed when I was working on the last page that, oops, the wrong layer, that I always draw people with their eyes close together, or at least that's what I've been doing recently. And I'm not learning to stop doing that because I just fix it in this program later. Like once I'm done the drawing, I kind of look at it and see what needs to be fixed. And then I just sort of grab the different facial features and move them around, which is kind of cheating, but yeah, I need to stop. So I actually learned to draw properly in the first place. So you guys in the chat, can you hear me? So yeah, you can probably tell from this that I draw my thumbnails traditionally. and then I bring them into the computer. For the past couple of years, for some reason, I haven't been into doing digital thumbnails. I just find it a lot easier to focus on them when I'm doing them by hand. And I just find it easier to get like ideas down. So this is supposed to be Gil holding like a toy sword when he's a kid. This whole chapter is going to be flashback sequences. So we're going to go into some of the characters' backstory and why Gil is such a jerk. If you haven't checked out my comic, it's linked in the description down below. A new page just went up 3 hours ago today. So yeah, check it out. The page before that, I got a little bit of feedback from readers. They're pretty disgusted with Gil right now. It's kind of a weird experience as a creator, I guess, getting feedback on, or like opinions on your characters, because you know you created them. And especially Gil, he has this major flaw of being like this selfish brat. But you know, I still love him because he's my child. But oh, that's really crooked. So okay, now I'm going to cheat again. Just select that, rotate it. Yep, this is what artists do nowadays, guys. Don't actually draw anything correctly. You just fix it on a computer. Also, the drawing test I did the other day, I muted my mic for it, so I don't know if you guys will be able to hear my computer like beeping and stuff at me. So I apologize if that ends up being really loud. I actually did a sword design like this in the first chapter, so I kind of want to change it. Let's see if I was answered. Oh, Granny. Charlie, you think Gil is such a dick. Yeah, well, it's just the beginning of the story, so I don't know. Hopefully that's not like a massive turnoff. I know certain people, when they're reading stuff, they really cannot stand unlikable characters. Oh God. For me personally, I do really like it, and I really like the kind of misunderstood villain, and that's gonna be a massive theme in this comic. I would actually say it's the most prominent theme in this comic is the misunderstood villain. Kind of like that bad guy who's really a good guy, but they got caught in the wrong place, in the wrong time, or people just don't understand them. Kind of like the premise of Wicked, the musical Wicked, and the book, if you read the book, where the Wicked Witch of the West is actually good, but people judged her based on her appearance. And again, she kind of got caught in the wrong place at the wrong time, trying to do the right thing. Yeah, so anyway, what was I saying? So this is my thumbnail, and I draw these about 2 to 3 inches big on a regular piece of paper, and then all I do is take pictures of them with my phone and bring them into Photoshop first and blow them up to be my page size. My comic pages are just a regular A4 size, I think. Ugh, I can't remember. But yeah, I'm pretty sure you can make your comic any size you want. But there is sort of like a general standard. And yeah, so then after I've blown up the thumbnail, I can kind of move stuff around that's on the thumbnail to be where I want it to be on the page. Like you can see here that there's a thumbnail for this small panel, and it was kind of like an awkward shape, and it's here in the corner of this row, and I decided to, for now anyway, make it this vertical type of thing. It might not actually work, but I can always change it later. Again, that's the beauty of the digital art. So here Gil is stabbing a hay bale. For some reason, I've had a lot of experience drawing hay bales in my life. In kids' cartoons, they come up a lot. I don't know why. Another thing I like about this program a lot is the actual line quality. Like if you zoom in a little bit, that's kind of too much. On the lines, you see that they're really nice, smooth line, and they have a lot of pressure sensitivity. It looks like a fairly realistic drawn pencil line almost without the texture. Just kind of draw some like plant things. What do you call it? Sticking out. I want it to look like he just stabbed it and there's kind of pieces flying out. Having a hard time for some reason. I don't know why I do this, but every time I start a new page, I always start with one of the easy panels. Now I automatically want to draw this one because this is another easy panel, but then I'll just be torturing myself because then I'll have all the hard panels left to draw. Oh, I'm behind on the chat. Charlie says he has a theory and he's interested to see how it plays out. Okay. Spoilers. Oh, I bet you met Tom Felton. That's cool. Granny asks, why choose to start on real paper instead of sketching directly with Photoshop? Is it because it's faster and you can feel what you're doing because you'll have a physical record of your work? Not so much the physical record. I don't care that much about that since it is just the thumbnails, but I do it because I just find it easier to get the ideas out. For some reason, even though I've drawn digitally for a really long time now, it's always a little bit intimidating, even though it is so easy to change stuff. It's just, there's still some kind of weird, unnatural feeling to it. And yeah, like I was saying, I just find it easier to get my ideas out on paper. And I honestly don't really even like thumbnailing at all. So when I am thumbnailing, if I try to do it on the computer, then I end up just procrastinating for like actually days, and it's really bad. So lately when I've been thumbnailing, I go out to Starbucks and bring like my sketchbook with me and my script. And it's a really big head. Undo that. And yeah, I just sort of sit down for like a couple hours and try to get them out. And I find that sitting in public too makes me focus more. It makes me feel like I should look like I'm working on something. And this live stream thing is actually a good way to focus too, because I know that it's being recorded. So I'm not just going to go like click on random stuff on Amazon and stuff like that. So part of this chapter is about Gil, one of the main characters. If you're not caught up, when he's a kid and his relationship kind of with his dad, first of all, and a couple other characters, but on this page, it's mainly about his dad, who is the king of their kingdom. And this panel is supposed to be the king like chasing after him. He's a kid. I haven't decided yet what to put in the background. So if you have any ideas, let me know. For the background designs of their castle, I've been trying to do this kind of exaggerated sort of really high walls, really high doors and ceilings and everything. But it ends up making the background look kind of blank, which is easy for me, I mean, for the most part. But yeah, if you're kind of in a medium or close-up shot, the characters like just got part of the wall behind them. So the chat again. Same thing. So I think a lot of people who watch on the Burrow are kind of beginners. I know there's a couple of people who have commented on my videos that have some experience, so I'm kind of always hesitant on topics that I should talk about. I guess I should just start from the beginning. But yeah, so this is kind of an animation thing, but when you're drawing a character walking, the arms move opposite to the legs. So that means this arm is going to come forward. That leg looks insane now. I don't know. I don't like that pose. Okay, that still looks stupid, but oh, sorry for the dead air, guys. I find it hard to talk and concentrate at the same time. And then his other arm is coming back like this. This arm looks too long. So for the back arm, I pretty much never draw it sticking straight out like that. People don't naturally walk like that. Maybe it wouldn't be that high, but usually, why is it not switching to eraser? Usually your arm or hand that's coming back is swinging sort of by your side, but it's really hard to get that in when you're drawing profile. You have to think about the silhouette. Granny says for the background, when drawing close-up of a wall, maybe add some lines to suggest stone blocks and erosion. Yeah, I didn't add that much detail so far in my walls and stuff. I had like some lines here and there for, what's it called? Wainscoting or something, baseboards on the wall. And like I put these like groove things on the wall just to kind of break them up. In a couple backgrounds, there's portraits on the walls. And in the last page, I just drew, it takes place in Gil's toy room. And there's like hanging banners or tapestries on the walls. So that kind of worked out. But yeah, in some cases, I don't know, here I picture them still inside the castle, but I don't know if that's weird because now they're outside. This is like on this hillside, and then they're outside here, here, and here. Oh, you know what would have been smart if I had drawn this? Why didn't I think of this before? Like, say the entrance, like a door to the castle is here, and they're coming out of it like this. So it's more of like a 3/4 view of them. Yeah, that would have been a lot smarter because it would show them exiting. This is the one thing I don't like about those programs. It takes a long time to save, even though it seems like the file is pretty small. I mean, Photoshop takes a long time too, but Photoshop has this thing now where you can keep working in the canvas while it's saving. This one you can't. Hey Ty, thanks for coming out. Granny, your wood planks / doors detailings are great too. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, just adding the lines to the wood helps to really sell it as a piece of wood, I guess. So in this chapter, I'm drawing the king as like this young man. He has like short hair. He doesn't have a beard yet. And I don't know, I'm having fun with it. Just how he looks like a lot more haggard and old in the first chapter. Oh, and I draw on a Cintiq. If anyone's wondering, it's a Wacom Cintiq. You can kind of see it in some of my videos. It's, if you didn't know, it's basically just a big screen you can draw on. It's a tablet screen, I think that's his nose shape. The actual name of it. I have to catch myself because I have like this default nose drawing, and I have to make sure the characters have differently shaped faces and noses. So but yeah, so I have the, I don't know why I said that, because I knew there was no way I'd remember the model name of this Cintiq, but it's one of the kind of older ones. Not super old, like I've used really, really older ones, like one of the early models, but this one is from 2013 or 2014. Probably 2013. And I think it's the second biggest size. There's another size up that comes with a kind of stand, like the Cintiq is up on these like metal arms. Oh, and it's a touchscreen as well. So this one is not the touchscreen model. So it's like the next one down from that one. I don't really know if I would want the touchscreen. Infinite windows. Granny says, you can show them going out of the castle by putting a strong light source going from the front of the child, maybe small leaves on the ground or beams of light passing by. That's true. Some people would like really do not pick up on that kind of stuff though. So you won't have to change the setting or show the actual entrance in the background. Yeah, I'm gonna think about that for now. I'm gonna go back to that panel after. I'm not sure what I want to do with it yet. Yeah, Ty asked, is it expensive to buy your art setup? So yes, the Cintiq, I think if you get the smaller size, they make, I think it's 11-inch or 12-inch screen. It costs about $800, I want to say, before tax and everything. The biggest size with the touchscreen and everything, it costs well over $2,000. And they have a, what's it called, companion now, where it's a contained sort of machine. So this acts as a monitor, like it's not a standalone computer, it's plugged into my desktop, and they have a new one now that I'm sure is kind of expensive. But yeah, so this particular one costs about $1,800. Yeah, so it's pretty expensive, but I got to use them a lot through my work when I worked in an animation studio, so I knew that I liked using it, and I kind of thought, well, if I invest that much money into it, then it'll make me want to draw more, I guess. Though it has sat on my desk for a couple months without being touched before, but yeah, now that I've launched my comic, I use it every day. Unless I'm very, very busy, I don't even turn on my computer, but that's pretty rare lately. I try to work on it every day. And yeah, everything else I use is pretty basic. I mean, I have a Mac Mini as my desktop, and I hate this computer. It's not very good. It's slow. A lot of programs that I want to use don't run on Apple, and I spent like, I don't even know how many hours of my life trying to shell Windows onto this stupid machine so I could get like Manga Studio Pro and some games and stuff that you can't use on the Mac OS. Yeah, it did not work, and just a bunch of things randomly do not work on it sometimes, like the hotkeys on my Cintiq, or it's not really called hotkeys, but the Cintiq comes with buttons on each side, and they just don't work now. Yeah, Tice says, I understand I buy guitars and it makes me feel like I want to play more. Yeah, when something is kind of like your main hobby or even your livelihood, then investing in it is really worth it. I would say if you're just starting out, though, go with the small Cintiq. Using the Cintiq is totally different than using a regular drawing tablet that you can use kind of like instead of a mouse. I never ever got used to using the regular drawing tablet. It's just a different type of like hand-eye coordination type of thing. Like I could draw with it, but it just felt horrible. And yeah, I couldn't draw as well, I guess. Not that I think I'm amazing now, but okay, now I have to think of an outfit for him. This is another tough thing with my comic, is that the characters keep changing outfits, so he wasn't on the last page, so it doesn't really matter, I guess. Wait, is he on the first page? I can't even remember. I'm gonna just quickly go to the first page. I can. It takes me a long time to draw these pages, but the first two pages of this chapter, they're really packed with panels. So obviously it takes longer than a page. Oh yeah, he is on this page, but he's like in his war armor, so I'm not gonna draw him wearing that. He's gonna be wearing a more casual thing. Some kind of like, I don't know. I draw them all wearing shirts with like a big collar on them of some kind. I feel like every kind of medieval type of clothing has some kind of prominent collar on it. And he should be wearing a cloak because that would look cool. Looks weird, actually. I'm gonna make it look like it's more like a wrapping. But yeah, I know some people who have pretty expensive music setups. So I guess you can kind of understand. The thing with the Cintiq too is there's not a ton of competition for it on the market. There's a couple things that are similar, but because they're a lot cheaper, I think there's one that's about $600. They're not as good. So at the time I was making good money. I was working as a supervisor in a big animation studio, so I just thought, well, screw it. I think it should be more like coming down over his chest like that. Charlie asks, was that something you researched, clothing styles from different courts, etc., to give yourself an idea of what you wanted your characters to wear? I have a lot of photos that I saved, and I kind of periodically look up stuff that I need to reference. I have looked up stuff from different eras, I guess, and I've kind of borrowed a lot of stuff from the 1800s. I really like drawing some clothes from that, even though that's well after like medieval period. Certain things are really hard to find photo reference for, and a lot of stuff that comes up on Google is like cosplay. And some of the stuff, like the costumes that people make for Renaissance fairs and stuff, they're really, really good. They're really highly detailed, and the other ones aren't good at all. But for the most part, I don't really look extremely specifically for these characters. There's more characters coming up that they have more of like a specific type of costume because of their culture. But this kingdom is loosely based on Germany, so I looked up a lot of like medieval German stuff. Okay, now you have to think of how this is fastened to his shirt or jacket or whatever. But yeah, thinking of how something is made and kind of held together is a really good way to add like convincing detail to your characters, as well as the props and the backgrounds and everything. Just make everything look more 3D. I'm drawing him so muscly. I don't think I can not draw muscle man at all. Like he almost has like a Batman arm. Granny said, oh, sorry, I skipped. Maxima, thank you for coming out. They said, do you like using Tapastic? Actually, yes. Tapastic is actually amazing so far, and I'm really glad I chose to launch my comic on there. Mostly because Tapastic has an already existing readership on their site. Like, it's a site designed for hosting comics. So there's already people on the site who are there because they want to read comics. And also there's obviously like thousands of other creators and stuff. But yeah, since Tapastic is designed for hosting comics, it's really easy to use and it has pretty much all the features you would want. So yeah, I'm really glad that it's a thing that I use. Okay, now I'm going to draw his eyeballs. He's supposed to be smiling, but his eyebrows aren't very like happy looking eyebrows. He's kind of a jerk too, so just automatically draw people with angry eyebrows. Just give him a little dimple. And I think there was another question. Yeah, Granny says that it took a fair amount of time before being able to draw with the Intuos. I never had an Intuos. I had a graphite. Is it called graphite or graphite or something like that? One of Wacom's early tablets. Ty says, does Canada have Renaissance fairs? I'm guessing we do, but I've never been to one. I'm pretty sure we do. Okay, bye, Ty. Thanks for coming out. Looking forward to your guys' vlogs. Becky and Charlie are saying in the chat that they're working on new vlogs. Oh yeah, so my friend Megan sent me a couple questions on Twitter. I'm just going to open them on my phone over here. Oh, Andrew Marson gave me a shout out. That was really nice. Thank you, Andrew, if you're watching this. Where is it? Okay, so Meg, aka iMegStar on Twitter, she asked, will you come back to Japan at some point? I definitely will. So the most recent trip I took to Japan was my second trip there, and if I could, I would go to Japan every year. I honestly dream about Japan like almost every night, and it's kind of like torture. And a lot of the times they aren't even realistic. They're not dreams or like places I've been to. It's like some made up place, but in my dream I know it's in Japan. So yeah, I do really want to go to Japan again soon. I want to go to some other places too, so it's kind of hard if, you know, if I can't even take like one trip a year. I don't know. I think my next trip might be Australia, but I don't know. I might just cave and go to Japan again next year. I don't know. I have to wait and see, obviously, like financial situation and everything. I spent so much money in Japan this past spring. It was nuts. Like, I don't regret going, but yeah, for those of you who don't know, I quit my job and then went to Japan for 3 weeks. So, I mean, just the flights alone cost like $2,000, I think. So, yeah, that was kind of rough. Seeing my bank account when I got home. But yeah, it's totally worth it. I always say that I think it's a lot more valuable to use your money on having experiences rather than just letting it sit in the bank. But that is my idea. But yeah, I definitely want to come back to Japan. It'd be really cool if I could come back sometime for the other YouTube parties. So this past spring, I got to go to the Hanami parties. But there's also a big party in Tokyo, usually the very first weekend of September. But right now I'm working as a teacher, so it's not going to happen for this next year. Yeah, I have to figure out where his eye direction is going. So this is him here with his back to us. And he's kind of like watching Gil here. So I don't know, drawing characters with their eyes sort of forward is always the hardest. I don't know, I always get it wrong and I have to keep revising it. Like, this looks idiotic. It's easiest when they're kind of looking to the side or up or something, and it's more of like an extreme direction, I guess, but like this looks horrible. But yeah, now more than ever, I'm thinking about living in Japan, but because of a few reasons in real life, I can't right now or within the next couple of years. So yeah, it's torture, but ew, why am I drawing its eyes so wrinkly? Okay, I'm undoing that. Okay, like to me, he looks kind of cross-eyed now. This dad is such a jerk. Like just knowing, even the next few pages, like what he does, I'm like, ugh. Of all the characters in my comic, I hate him the most. Like he's a bad guy. That's okay for now, I guess. And the background, I don't know, I might just reuse a mountain from another painting I did with like some sky and then just blur it. So it looks like he's in focus. I actually really like doing that. It looks pretty cool in comics when the background is slightly blurred on like a close-up shot. Yeah, Charlie, like I was saying, I can't move there right now. Yeah, I don't know, just, I mean, there's a couple of reasons. Why did I click on that? Kind of like in my personal life, but I don't know if my mom wants to say, but my mom is sick and my brother moved away right before she got sick, and I have no other siblings. So yeah, my grandma died a couple of years ago, so basically there's not really anyone else around for her. She has brothers and sisters, but I don't know, I would just feel like really shitty if I picked up and moved away during this. And on top of that, I have 4 rabbits. And every time I think about taking those things on a plane, I just start to panic. I did find a YouTube video of someone who moved their rabbit internationally, and they were allowed to take the rabbit in a carrier right onto the plane with them. So I don't know. The thing I'm most worried about is when you go through security, you have to like take your animal out of the carrier and hold it, and rabbits hate to be held, and I just foresee it like ending in disaster. I don't know. So yeah, I could probably do it with one rabbit, but like trying to get 4 rabbits through security at an airport and then keeping them alive during a 17-hour flight is kind of insane to me. I guess I could drive them like across the country and fly from Vancouver. And then it would only be an 8 or 9 hour flight. But it would be like 5 or 6 days on the road. Yeah. Pets. I love having pets, but if you ever want to live somewhere internationally, don't get pets. Yeah, so no, Granny, they're not food. So mean. Maxima says, I'm related to webcomic, but what's your favorite Halloween themed film? Well, fun fact, I don't really watch horror movies. I can't watch horror movies. I get really scared. It's really stupid because I'm 29 years old and I don't know. I just don't like being scared by stuff like that. Like case in point, the other night I was watching some scary videos on YouTube, which I never ever do. And for some reason I did this one night, and then I couldn't go to sleep till like 3 in the morning. And yeah, I was just very scared from these like fake stupid videos, but ew, this is like Voldemort. I need to draw his hair. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So for Halloween movies, so I like watching really not scary Halloween themed movies. Like my favorite since I was a kid was Casper. And that movie is about ghosts, but it's not actually scary. And I remember like my classmates making fun of me because whenever I talked about it, they'd be like, don't you watch anything that's for like adults? Even though we were only like 11 or something, but I was like, no. I don't know. I always got scared really easily. Also, I usually watch The Craft around this time of year. Again, not a scary movie, but it's Halloween themed. And yeah, I think that's about it. I actually don't really like Nightmare Before Christmas. Everyone thinks that I love that movie because I guess like I was gothic in high school, and I never liked it. Hocus Pocus. Oh, I haven't seen that in a long time, but yeah, I really liked that when I was a kid. Every once in a while I'll watch, what's it called? Rocky Horror Picture Show. Trying to think of what else. When I was like 10 or so, Practical Magic was really popular, and we would watch that at Halloween time. I don't know. I'm not feeling this overall shape. I'm just gonna force it like over here, like it's kind of hanging to the side. And then see like his leg back here. Meg had another part of her question. What was it? What's your favorite season and why? Well, up until a few years ago, my favorite season was pretty much everyone's favorite season, which is fall. But for a couple of reasons, it's not really my favorite anymore. The first being that it lasts here for basically a couple weeks, which is really annoying. It's so fleeting. Like the past couple weeks, it was just beautiful. It was warm out, but the trees had all turned, and I don't know, it was just really nice out. And then we got a huge rainstorm, and like all the nice leaves have been knocked down. And now it just looks like gross outside, basically. But yeah, I used to love fall. I don't know, I'm a big Hermione type, so like when I was a kid, I got really excited to go back to school, and my birthday is in September, so I don't know, that was just another reason. But now, since the last few winters here in Ontario have been an absolute horror show, I really like summer. Just the extreme cold has made me really like summer. I don't know, as I've gotten older, it's affected me more and more. Like, I don't know, when I was a kid, I lived on the East Coast and it didn't get as cold there. And I don't know, when you live in the city, it seems so much colder, I guess, because there's concrete everywhere. Everything's just frozen. There's ice all over the concrete. Like when I lived in a small town, it didn't seem as cold. But apparently, last year actually wasn't that bad of a winter. But the 2 years before that were like some of the worst winters we'd ever had, and it was complete hell. And I don't know, it really like wreaks havoc on my mood and like depression, everything. And yeah, I basically just like hate my life during the winters here. It really sucks. So yeah, that's made me really like summer. So I'd have to say recently, summer has been my most favorite season. It gets extremely hot here as well. So Ontario gets the greatest range of temperatures in Canada or something like that. Like it gets the hottest summers and coldest winters. So it gets really, really hot, and I don't know, I just really love the heat now. I don't know, I just love the feeling of like getting into the hot car and I don't know, I'm like a cold-blooded lizard or something like that. Like I went to Hawaii a few years ago, and one of the places I stayed in was called Lahaina, which means deadly heat in Hawaiian. And it was so insanely hot. Like I remember stepping out of the car and just the sweat like pouring down my back. Sorry if that's disgusting, but yeah, it was like, I don't know what it was in Celsius, but in the car there was a thermometer and it said it was 99 degrees Fahrenheit. So I think that's like 40 something degrees Celsius. I don't know. But yeah, it was very hot and I really liked it. So someday I would like to live in a hot climate. Like lately I've been fantasizing about Canada buying like a part of Texas or something. And then we could all like spend the winters in Texas, but also still be in Canada and not have to deal with the crazy American politics, like healthcare system and stuff like that. That would be great. You don't want Texas. Well, we would kick everyone out of the part of Texas we bought, and there would just be other Canadians there. But I don't know. I've seen that it snows in some parts of Texas, so I don't know. I just said Texas because I know it's a really big state. Oh, I missed a bunch of... No, I don't really like Nightmare Before Christmas. Likes bad music, doesn't enjoy it. I don't like bad music, excuse me. Sleepy Hollow is very Halloween to me. Yeah, I only ever watched that movie once. But yeah, I remember it being like creepy and dark, but not scary. Maxima says, I watched The Craft for the first time last weekend and in the Bob's Burgers episode parodying The Craft. Oh. I actually haven't been watching Bob's Burgers, so that's funny. They did a parody of that. Fall hasn't even started here. I hate living in the south. No, you should love it. It's so cold here. There's already frost here at night, I think. Like it was like -1 this morning or something. Yeah, that's true, Becky. In the summer, you can't wear hoodies. That's another thing about fall and winter is that you can wear really comfortable clothes. Maximo, what state do you live in, if you don't mind me asking? Yeah, humidity is kind of, I don't know. I don't like humidity either. I like dry heat. But it gets pretty humid here too. Granny says thunder and heavy rain makes sleeping much more enjoyable. I can't sleep when it's thundering. I don't understand how you sleep during a storm. Okay, well, like I said, I just said Texas because it's the biggest state, so I figured they'd be willing to sell part of it. I don't know, maybe, like, I don't think they would sell part of California. Maybe Nevada or New Mexico or something. I don't know. Yeah, I'd really like to live in a really hot place at one point, at least at some point in my life. Like, it's not fair Canada doesn't have a warm climate like that. The warmest place is BC. And well, it's not the warmest, like it doesn't get the hottest, not like the southern United States, but they don't get extreme winter like we do here in Ontario. I don't know. I was in Saskatchewan last summer for a few days and it got so hot. It was absurd. Like if you were standing out on the pavement in the sun, it just, I don't know how it gets that hot, but yeah, it's like prairie land with no wind. It just gets really hot and apparently it gets really, really cold in the winter. So I don't know. The prairies are like the part of Canada I don't want to go to. And I've been out there a couple times, but I mean, I don't want to live there ever. You'd have to drag my dead body out there. And Northern Ontario and Northern Quebec, I don't want to live anywhere more north than I already live. Okay, so on this panel, Gil is going to sort of be on this hillside. And basically what I pictured is, I think I just said pictured. What I pictured is this sort of practice dummy set up here. to make it look like it's not sliding down the hill, because that would be silly. But yeah, so this week I'm planning on going to an art museum that I haven't been to in a long time and doing a little bit of drawing there. Since I'm teaching a life drawing class this semester, I started trying to draw along with the students, and I was very, very rusty and bad. So yeah, I'm pretty interested in starting to paint with real paints, namely acrylic. Again, I also have gouache, but I don't know. I've never really used gouache. I have no idea how you're supposed to use it. But yeah, I'm pretty interested in doing some real life painting, because I haven't really done any since high school, and in high school I didn't know that much about art. I just thought I was amazing, and everything I made was amazing. So I hardly tried at anything. So that is stupid. It's not what I was trying to draw. This is kind of what I pictured for the thumbnail, was this kind of like a piece of a suit of armor hanging on a post. Dish. All right, bye, Charlie. Be the Bob Ross of the generation. Yeah, I was thinking of doing some kind of video like that for this channel. There's these kind of simplistic paintings I've been meaning to try out, and I think it would be a good sort of tutorial for the channel. So I'm going to try and do probably a couple before I do the tutorial video. But yeah, I started watching this guy on YouTube that paints, and he does these really cool shots of kind of like close-ups on his painting and like his palette and everything. I don't know, I think it's cool. But yeah, coming up is NaNoWriMo. It's coming up really fast. I don't know if I'll be able to do it this year. I really wanted to, but I am moving next month, just to a new house, not to like a new place or anything like that. But I don't know, I'd probably still be able to do it. It's not like moving will take me the entire month. But I don't know, I have to paint one of the rooms. I have to paint my coffee table. I don't have to, but I want to. Repair 2 of my bookshelves. You know. How do I make it look like there's kind of like dents in this? Like I want to make it look like it's been attacked before. Mary Doodles? No, I don't think. No. I think the name of the channel is something basic like how, like painting class, something like that. So now is the hard part. I should have drawn this before I drew this sort of dummy part, because now it looks really huge. Yeah, so if you compare it to like the size of the king right here, it's huge. So yep, I'm gonna do this cheat. So if I just bring it over like this, yeah, it looks like a slightly more reasonable size. I don't know, I'm just gonna draw some more hay in here to take up space. So now I don't love the layout of this panel because there's all this space at the top that doesn't have anything going on. So I'm just gonna try this experiment. And I'm gonna make the king fill up more of the panel. So he's standing pretty close in the foreground. Yeah. Again, this is digital art cheating. Like if I had done this with real paints or ink or whatever, obviously if it was pencil, I would just erase it or start over or whatever, but yeah, so that's kind of good. Actually move this stuff lower down on the hill so it doesn't really look like it's sliding down. I was thinking of playing music behind this because I knew I wouldn't be able to talk for hours and hours, but YouTube will take it down, and I didn't know exactly what I could use or couldn't use. There's another streaming site. Well, I know there's some artists on Twitch, but there's another site called Picarto, and it's made for artist streaming. And you can use like copyright audio on that. So like I could just listen to music or an audiobook or something and play that while I was streaming, but I couldn't figure out how to stream on there. I'm not the most like technological person ever, so yeah. I couldn't figure out how to do it on Twitch. It's the same sort of, what do you call it? I don't know, idea program. Yeah, there's still a bunch of space here, so I don't know, I'm just gonna put some like interesting clouds in the background. And then Gil. He will be here. He's like sparring with the armor dummy. Oh, I should add some details to this hill. Like some little flowers here. Some tufts. So yeah, I pretty much always start with this sort of stick figure when drawing people. And then sort of flesh it out after I get the pose I want. So yeah, he's gonna be holding his sword up. That. I'll have some like bits of hay flying up. But yeah, if you've read so far what's happened in chapter 1 of the comic, you will see that, I mean, you'll see some of the backstory, but this chapter is going to be more so about the personal relationships of the characters. A wooden dummy, Granny saying a wooden dummy would be easier to show. It's been attacked a lot. It would also make more sense because using a sword on armor would damage the sword and be painful. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't think of that. Well, I mean, he's using a wooden sword. I don't know. I'm too lazy to redraw it now. What if it was just like a stuffed dummy? Like a scarecrow type of thing. That would probably make a little more sense. I don't know. That's a little more like recognizable. That's used a lot in movies and stuff, so Make it look like it's stuffed with hay, like the Scarecrow in Wizard of Oz. Just have like a fabric sleeve. Yeah, I'll take these out. Those are supposed to be like the dents, the armor. I'm just gonna basically make it look like a stuffed shirt. And then I guess you can put in the rips in the shirt and stuff like that. And he's gonna have like a stuffed head. Like hay coming out. Yeah, actually, I like how it turned out much better. So thank you for letting me know that hitting an armored dummy would be too painful to practice with. Clearly, I have not used a sword enough. So it's coming up here on an hour and a half streaming. So if you guys have any other comments and questions, let them be heard in the chat. And I'll get to them, and then I will be logging off for the night. I'll probably be working on the computer for a little while longer. So if you want to tweet at me, you can. I mean, obviously you can tweet at me anytime, but I will get back to you promptly. And yeah, then I'm going to go prepare my breakfast for tomorrow because tomorrow's my long day of work. And hit the hay. Well, I'll probably play some Sailor Moon and then hit the hay. This is another good thing about drawing digitally is you can really zoom in and draw a lot finer than if you're doing it by hand. Like obviously by hand, you can only get your pencil so sharp. So that really limits the amount of detail you can draw, especially on small figures like this. If I were drawing this by hand, it would look very simplified and yeah, I don't know. I think it just is a little bit better this way. Do they eat frogs? Granny asks. I mean, aren't you French, Granny? So, I mean, it's kind of funny that you're asking that. But no, they are not eating the frogs. As you will see in the next couple of pages that are going to be posted. Not of this chapter, but of chapter 1. So they'll be up on the site in a couple of weeks. Maybe even next week. I can't remember. Yeah, you'll see what they're eating. I'm really bad at drawing kids too, by the way. And this whole chapter is like Gil as a kid. It's very annoying. Like the page I did before this one, he and Adelaide are in it, and like the way I imagined it is they were kind of like 5-ish, and I don't know, I can't draw them. I made them look probably more like 9 or 10. Yeah, I was just joking. Actually, they serve frogs here where I live at Chinese restaurants. Go figure. Never seen it at like a Canadian type of place though. And I think it's always deep fried, like frog legs, which I don't know why you would want to eat them because they're so tiny anyway, but Yep, that's a thing. Oh, okay, I'm doing the eye too close to the nose thing that I was talking about earlier in the stream. So I'm gonna move it over. So Granny, I've noticed you have been drawing more and more complicated stuff, which is really cool. Frogs are so cute, I felt that. That's funny. Most people don't think frogs are cute. Yeah, I don't mind them, but I don't want to eat them either. It's kind of like eating a mouse. Like, why would you eat a mouse when there's other things to eat? And the mouse is so small. Okay, again, I forget what his outfit was on the previous page, but I'm just gonna make it up. I kind of picture him wearing like nice jackets. And these extremely masculine, like pantaloon legging setups here. I don't even know if they're pantaloons, but what era is it? It's like Victorian or something like that. But I took fashion design in high school, and we had to draw these outfits from different eras. And guys used to wear pants called pumpkin pants, and they were like shorts like this. It was just insane. Yeah, I'm definitely don't see myself using that in my comic. Unless it's for some kind of like ridiculous character. I don't know. Yeah, so there's that panel. So yeah, I think that's all I'm going to do for this stream. As you can see, it takes me a while to draw these pages. This page doesn't have a ton of panels in it, so it'll probably only take me about another hour to finish drawing the rough. But for the last couple pages, there's almost, I want to say like over 15 panels, almost 20 panels on each page. So they took me like a day pretty much to draw the rough. So yeah, these things take a long time. Granny, you can't draw anything on real paper. That's weird because most people start out on paper, so they have a hard time transitioning to the computer. But yeah, keep posting. I'm looking at your stuff on Twitter. So thank you guys for coming out and watching. And that's all for tonight. I'm probably going to continue doing streams like this. I don't want to say often, but every once in a while. Like I said, it's a really good way to help me concentrate. So yeah, I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.